a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Jacob Zuma. Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma is a South African politician who served as the fourth president of South Africa from the 2009 general election until his resignation on the 14th of February 2018. Zuma is also referred to by his initials JZ and his clan name Msholozi. His rule is estimated to have cost the South African economy R1 trillion. Zuma served as deputy president of South Africa from 1999 to 2005, but was dismissed by President Thabo Mbeki in 2005 after Zuma's financial advisor, Schabir Shaik, was convicted of soliciting a bribe for Zuma. Zuma was nonetheless elected president of the African National Congress on the 18th of December 2007 after defeating Mbeki at the ANC conference in Polokwane. On the 20th of September 2008, Mbeki announced his resignation after being recalled by the ANC's National Executive Committee. The recall came after South African High Court Judge Christopher Nicholson ruled Mbeki had improperly interfered with the operations of the National Prosecuting Authority, including the prosecution of Jacob Zuma for corruption. Zuma led the ANC to victory in the 2009 general election and was elected President of South Africa. He was re-elected as ANC leader at the ANC conference in Mangang on the 18th of December 2012, defeating challenger Kgalema Motlanthe by a large majority, and remained president of South Africa after the 2014 general election, although his party suffered a decline in support, partly due to growing dissatisfaction with Zuma as president. Zuma has faced significant legal challenges before and during his presidency. He was charged with rape in 2005, but was acquitted. He has fought a long legal battle over allegations of racketeering and corruption, resulting from his financial advisor Schabir Shaik's conviction for corruption and fraud. On the 6th of April 2009, the National Prosecuting Authority dropped the charges against Zuma, citing political interference, although the decision was successfully challenged by opposition parties, and the charges were before the NPA for reconsideration. After extensive state-funded upgrades to his rural homestead at Nkandla, the public protector found that Zuma had benefited improperly from the expenditure, and the Constitutional Court unanimously held in 2016's Economic Freedom Fighters v Speaker of the National Assembly that Zuma had failed to uphold the country's constitution, resulting in calls for his resignation and a failed impeachment attempt in the National Assembly. He has also been implicated in reports of state capture through his friendship with the influential Gupta family. He survived multiple motions of no confidence, both in Parliament and within the ANC. On the 18th of December 2017, Cyril Ramaphosa was elected to succeed Zuma as president of the ANC at the ANC conference at Nasrec, Johannesburg. Subsequent month saw growing pressure on Zuma to resign as president of South Africa, culminating in the ANC recalling him as president of South Africa. Facing a motion of no confidence in Parliament, Zuma announced his resignation on the 14th of February 2018, and was succeeded by Ramaphosa the next day. Early life and political career. Zuma was born in Nkandla, Natal Province. His father was a policeman who died when Zuma was 5, and his mother was a domestic worker. His middle name, Gedleyihlekisa, means one who smiles while causing you harm in Zulu. He received no formal schooling. As a child, Zuma constantly moved around Natal Province and the suburbs of Durban. He has two brothers, Michael and Joseph. Imprisonment and exile. Zuma began engaging in politics at an early age and joined the African National Congress in 1959. He became an active member of Umkhonto we Sizwe in 1962, following the South African government's ban of the ANC in 1961. Zuma joined the South African Communist Party in 1963. That year, he was arrested with a group of 45 recruits near Zeerust in the Western Transvaal, currently part of the Northwest Province. Convicted of conspiring to overthrow the apartheid government, a government led by the white minority, Zuma was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, which he served on Robben Island with Nelson Mandela and other notable ANC leaders also imprisoned during this time. Whilst imprisoned, Zuma served as a referee for Prisoners Association football games, organized by the prisoners' own governing body, Makana FA. After his release from prison, Zuma was instrumental in the re-establishment of ANC underground structures in the Natal province. During this time Zuma joined the African National Congress Department of Intelligence, where he later became the department's head of intelligence. Zuma first left South Africa in 1975 and met Thabo Mbeki in Swaziland, and proceeded to Mozambique, where he dealt with the arrival of thousands of exiles in the wake of the Soweto uprising. He became a member of the ANC National Executive Committee in 1977. He also served as Deputy Chief Representative of the ANC in Mozambique, a post he occupied until the signing of the Nkomati Accord between the Mozambican and South African governments in 1984. After signing the accord, he was appointed as Chief Representative of the ANC. He served on the ANC's Political and Military Council when it was formed in the mid-1980s, and was elected to the Politburo of the SACP in April 1989. In December 1986, the South African government requested Mozambican authorities expel 6 senior members of the ANC including himself, as a result of the pressure applied by the apartheid government on Mozambique. In January 1987, Zuma was forced to leave Mozambique. He moved to the ANC head office in Lusaka, Zambia, where he was appointed head of underground structures, and shortly thereafter chief of the intelligence department. Zuma was also a member of the South African Communist Party, briefly serving on the party's Politburo until he left the party in 1990. Return from exile. Following the end of the ban on the ANC in February 1990, Zuma was one of the first ANC leaders to return to South Africa to begin the process of negotiations. In 1990, he was elected chairperson of the ANC for the Southern Natal region, and took a leading role in fighting political violence in the region between members of the ANC and the Inkatha Freedom Party. He was elected the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC the next year, and in January 1994, he was nominated as the ANC candidate for the premiership of KwaZulu-Natal. The IFP, led by Mangasuthu Buthelezi, put particular emphasis on Zulu pride and political power during this period. In this context, Zuma's Zulu heritage made his role especially important in the ANC's efforts to end the violence, to emphasize the political roots of the violence, and to win the support of Zulu people in the region. Mech of Economic Affairs and Tourism. After Nelson Mandela was elected president and Thabo Mbeki his deputy, Zuma became the member of the Executive Council for Economic Affairs and Tourism in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal. Deputy Presidency. After the 1994 general election, with the ANC becoming a governing party, but having lost KwaZulu-Natal province to the IFP, he was appointed as member of the Executive Committee of Economic Affairs and Tourism for the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government. In December 1994, he was elected national chairperson of the ANC and chairperson of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, and was re-elected to the latter position in 1996. He was elected deputy president of the ANC at the national conference held at Mafeking in December 1997. And subsequently appointed Executive Deputy President of South Africa in June 1999. During this time, he also worked in Kampala, Uganda, as facilitator of the Burundi peace process, along with Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni. Museveni chairs the Great Lakes Regional Initiative, a grouping of regional presidents overseeing the peace process in Burundi, where several armed Hutu groups took up arms in 1993 against a government and army dominated by the Tutsi minority that they claimed had assassinated the first president elected from the Hutu majority. Corruption charges. Zuma became embroiled in a corruption controversy, one of many, after his financial advisor, Schabir Shaik, was charged with corruption and fraud. Bulelani Nkuka, the National Director of Public Prosecutions at the time, investigated both Zuma and the Chief Whip of the ANC Tony Yengini, after allegations of abuse of power were leveled against them. This concerned improper influence in the controversial arms deal, and the question of financial benefit as a result of such influence. While Yengini was found guilty, the case was dropped against Zuma, with Nkuka stating that there was prima facie evidence of corruption, but insufficient to win the case in court. In 2004, Zuma became a key figure mentioned in the Schabir Shaik trial. Schabir Shaik, a Durban businessman and his financial advisor, was questioned over bribery in the course of the purchase of Valor-class frigates for the South African Navy, a proposed waterfront development in Durban, and lavish spending on Zuma's residence in Nkandla. In the trial, Shaik was shown to have solicited a bribe of R500,000 per annum for Zuma in return for Zuma's support for the defense contractor Thomson CSF, documented in the infamous, encrypted fax. On the 2nd of June 2005, Shaik was found guilty and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Judge Hilary Squires elaborates in detail on the numerous transactions that transpired between Zuma and Shaik, summarizing with, all the accused companies were used at one time or another to pay sums of money to Jacob Zuma. The media misquoted Squires with the phrase, a generally corrupt relationship, whereas these exact words do not appear in the court transcripts. To the defense of the originators of this phrase, the full transcript of the judgment against Shaik actually does mention Zuma 471 times, uses word corrupt or corruption 54 times, and contains 12 sentences with both the word corrupt and the name Zuma. Media sources later switched to the phrase mutually beneficial symbiosis from the judgment's paragraph 235. It would be flying in the face of common sense and ordinary human nature to think that he did not realize the advantages to him of continuing to enjoy Zuma's goodwill to an even greater extent than before 1997. And even if nothing was ever said between them to establish the mutually beneficial symbiosis that the evidence shows existed, the circumstances of the commencement and the sustained continuation thereafter of these payments can only have generated a sense of obligation in the recipient. After 12 days of intense media speculation about his future, President Thabo Mbeki relieved Zuma of his duties as deputy president on the 14th of June 2005. Mbeki told a joint sitting of Parliament that, in the interest of the Honourable Deputy President, the government, our young democratic system and our country, it would be best to release the Honourable Jacob Zuma from his responsibilities as Deputy President of the Republic and member of the Cabinet. Zuma then resigned as a Member of Parliament. In the aftermath of the Shaik trial, Zuma was formally charged with corruption by the National Prosecuting Authority. The case was struck from the roll of the Pietermaritzburg High Court after the prosecution's application for a postponement was dismissed. In dismissing the application for postponement, the court rendered moot the defense's application for a permanent stay of proceedings which would prevent Zuma from being criminally prosecuted. Zuma's legal team continued to delay proceedings, and in spite of Zuma's claim that he desired the matter to appear in court, succeeded in making critical evidence unavailable to the court, resulting in the prosecution making an application for postponement on the set date. As the prosecution was not ready, the case was struck from the roll after the prosecution's application for a postponement was dismissed. However, Zuma's legal team was unsuccessful in its attempts to have the courts grant a permanent stay of proceedings. This left Zuma open to being recharged with corruption as soon as the NPA completed preparing its case. On the 8th of November 2007, the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled in favor of the National Prosecuting Authority with respect to appeals relating to various search and seizure exercises performed by them, and rejected 4 appeals made by Zuma's defense team. This ruling pertained to the National Prosecuting Authority obtaining the personal diary of senior member of a French arms company, which may have provided information relating to Zuma's possible corrupt practices during the awarding of an arms deal. On the 28th of December 2007, the Scorpions served Zuma an indictment to stand trial in the High Court on various counts of racketeering, money laundering, corruption and fraud. A conviction and sentence to a term of imprisonment of more than 1 year would have rendered Zuma ineligible for election to the South African Parliament, and consequently he would not have been eligible to serve as President of South Africa. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?